Journeys ahead to Lineage. Chapter 13, Fallen Spark. Written and narrated by T.S. ProArt. All sitting together within Nox's workshop, Jida, her friend group, as well as Nox's friends, all sat around in the living room, drinking hot chocolate and talking about regular life. Upon the TV, there was a video live stream of a fireplace that was playing soft Christmas jingles to help entice the mood for the holiday session. The sun had begun to set over the city of Aurora, casting a gorgeous warmth of pinks, purples, and oranges. As for the last few days, snow continued to fall, dousing the grand city more and more within its freezing white confines. As everyone continued to chat and get along, Jida sat beside Winona in a bit of an uncomfortable manner. Her orange hair slowly pulsed with a campfire's hue. Sweat drizzled down her forehead and other crevices, while she ever so gently twitched. Her stomach cramps had felt the worsen. It was as though someone was constantly pinching her insides at random moments. Slowly, she breathed in and out, trying to remain calm to the prospect of her child growing near. "Mother, are you okay?" Pavnu asked as she walked up to her with a plate full of freshly baked cookies. Yeah, I'm okay," the guitarist assured as the sounds of Tucker and Muck laughing erupted from the large group. Everyone was in high spirits, so Jida didn't want to alarm everyone. But even then, Pavnu, along with Winona, could tell something was up. "Hey, are you sure you're alright?" the field reporter asked her dear friend, making Andy, who was beside Specs, turn their head with a raised eyebrow. Yeah, I'm... Wincing with another internal surge, Jida quickly reached her hand around and clutched her belly. Making an audible groan, she got the attention of everyone within the room, making them all stare with surprised expressions. "Jida, are you alright?" Nox quickly asked as he shuffled his little self over to be by her side. "Do you need anything, hun?" Sarv then inquired, as all attention was now upon the angel within the room. I'm fine, guys. It's just... I think they're gonna be here sooner rather than later. Maybe a day or two?" To her words, a mix of glee and nervousness was shared among the odd group. Nobody there knew how to truthfully deal with an infant, but they had all, at least on Nox's side, agreed to help with the baby in any way they could. Just then, a loud sound came overhead. The workshop suddenly rumbled, as though an earthquake had begun without warning. The photo frames along the walls rattled, while the furniture began to vibrate rapidly. "Beezus, what is that?" Ellie yelled, while using Coco of all people as a stabilizer. "Earthquake! We got an earthquake!" Cod exclaimed as he nearly crashed into his fellow flipside. Suddenly, a flash of purple light came in from the window. Everyone stared in awe towards his aura, before everything suddenly ceased like a snap. Not even a full minute after, the rapid sounds of knocking came from the other side of the front door, with Void shouting through. "Jida! Knock! Anyone! Open the door!" Springing onto her feet, Jida, ignoring the pain, ran straight towards the door, leaving everyone in a state of ponderous awe. "What the hell?" Andy questioned, as Jida, without wasting a second, threw open the wooden slab to winter air. "Blue?" she nervously questioned, before falling wide-eyed to what she was seeing. Resting within the workshop's parking lot was the Sparks escape ship, a large, sleek vessel with a bright metallic purple ring glowing behind it. In front, all of the Sparks stood, injured from their fall. Void and Core stood up front, with Lee hurting beside them. Harmony and Sika stood near the back, shaken, while Atlas and Evelyn appeared mentally drained. They all did. "Whoa, wait, Guys, what the? Jida asked with shock, as Void suddenly lunged forwards and embraced his wife. Stumbling backwards for a moment, Jida quickly gripped Void in return, while all the other sparks entered the premise. Whoa, Void, what? Jida worriedly questioned, as everyone within looked up and upon the group of literal aliens. Whoa, what the heck? Andy shouted as they practically scooted themselves into the couch's arm. Core, everyone, what are you? Nock gasped out as Void nearly fell to his knees. Core? Wait, whoa, what the heck? Who? Winona suddenly stuttered as she and the rest of the duo's friend group stared down at the mysterious guest. Shaking like a freezing dog, Void caught his breath before pulling back, looking absolutely terrified. Honey, what happened? Jida asked again as she gently pressed her forehead against his. Matira, she. The blue spark began to speak when Atlas, in a fit of rage, threw his katana upon the floor, making Taylor jump into Ellie's arms in shock. Lying piece of clunk scrapping god-snapping sky-snapper! He cried before surging green and punching the wall so hard that it broke. She lied to us. She lied to all of us! Core angrily roared, with his horns beginning to glow with a hot orange shine. Wait, what happened, y'all? Sarv demanded to know, as all the sparks began to pace. Where the hell do we even begin? I don't even... My fucking scared. Evelyn wept as she sat on the floor with her head in her hands. All the while, Void's old friend group just stared with complete shock at what they were seeing. Jida, everyone, Matira, she lied to us. She used us. The reformatter, it's a doomsday device. It's a machine that is designed to drain planets. Void shouted with panic and frustration as he still tried to wrap his head around the last hour. What? Jida and the rest of Nock's friends retorted, as the others still stared in disbelief as to what they were seeing. Winona of which, falling eerily quiet upon noticing what Void was wearing. She's got Joby. Talos, he killed Mr. Cogs and it's all falling apart. We don't know. Approaching around, Core placed his hands atop the back of his head, trying to think on what to do next. Whoa, wait, rewind. What do you mean there's a doomsday device? Nock questioned as he approached his family's side. She lied to us, Harmony reinstated, being oddly the most collected in the group. Turns out the reformatter is designed to drain worlds. She never told us the details. She gave us fake blueprints, talked out of her ass. She's gonna drain Earth to resurrect our kind. We were all tricked by our own creator. And now she's got Joby, using her as a freaking conductor. The spark had explained as she took a seat beside Andy, who just stared upon her with confused eyes. Talos killed Cogson, yeah. We tried to stop them, but we were ambushed. We escaped, and Void directed us here to, I think, make a plan. I don't know. Lee added, as she did her best to hold back tears. In disbelief, everyone looked to one another, completely baffled by all that had been heard. Come, let's go to the garage. Get you all some drinks, food, something, to help clear your minds. Jet suggested as he rolled up upon his two-wheeled feet and placed an arm around Void. To this, he and the other Sparks agreed, as they continued to try and accept the events that had just happened. So she killed her own kind and now plans to... Oh, Jesus. Jida repeated the Spark's words in a cold shiver, as everyone now stood around and chatted with one another, trying to explain everything to the best of their abilities. Spock Dad, do you know when it's supposed to, Plovnu nervously questioned, as she handed her dad a well-deserved juice box. I don't know, but we gotta figure out what to do, and fast. Void said with both a long sip and sense of fear in his voice, when all of a sudden, Winona and the others of their friend group approached Void and Jida with stunned eyes. Looking up, the married pair fell still. In the heat of panic, they didn't even consider the truth would be revealed, the truth of who they were. In silence, their friends stared back, unsure of what to say, as Winona remained front and center. Hey, okay, I know this is all a bit sudden. Void began to speak, as Winona and the rest remained still, except for Coco, who just felt awkward in the moment as she had always known. Guys, we wanted to tell you all for so long, but... Jida nervously began, when all of a sudden, Winona took a slab of wood from the ground and swung it at Void's head. Whoa, hey! He cried, whilst deploying his battle helmet in defense. With a soft clunk, Winona slowed her swing and just tapped Void on the head. Upon seeing that famous helmet, she quite literally freaked. Oh my god, I'm not crazy! Wow, I always had a hunch! You guys were the Bold and the Angel the whole time! Oh my god! In shock, everyone eyed the woman down as she began to fan herself, whilst Void slowly began to retract his mask. Surprise? He asked, as the others approached him and Jida. Well, this explains a lot. Taylor mumbled with a half smirk on his face, while Ellie just stared with a befuddled expression. You mean to tell me you guys are also close friends with my father? That's weird. She awkwardly stated, while Muck just remained in shock. We truly did want to tell you all, but with school, the rise in crime, you guys always being around us, we just didn't want you to get hurt. You understand, right? Jada explained as she revealed the purple glow under her belly to all of their shocks. Wow, oh my god, I have so many questions, like, you're all mechanical, that's not skin, you're like a robot. You've got fire powers. You have portal stuff too. You guys... Winona began the ramble, but stopped upon seeing the dour stare in Void's face. The strain. The fear. Are you alright? She then asked, as the audible crunch of Andy chewing upon their comfort food came forth. Yeah, we're still trying to understand this Matera something doomsday device. Taylor replied, as he and the rest tried to understand what they had all heard. But without proper context, they didn't fully feel the weight that was now upon them all. Looking around, Void gazed at his fellow Sparks. Alice and Evelyn sat side by side, huddling and talking. So was Cor, who was holding a sobbing Sika in his arms. She was completely panicked and stressed over Joby, to which nobody could blame her. Even then, Void had never seen his brother so angry, and yet so full of thought. Then, he looked to Harmony and Lee. The two of them were gently embraced around one another, to the point where Harmony carefully wrapped her hand around Lee's in an act of unexpected compassion. Closing his eyes, Void's mind flashed back to what had happened. Cogson's demise, Joby being taken away, the monsters, all the panic. Reopening his blueberry-colored irises, Void immediately looked to Jida, then to her glowing belly, feeling an immediate surge to do something. Guys, we gotta go back. The longer we wait, the sooner it gives those two time to activate the reformatter. Void said, getting everyone's attention. I agree, but if we don't have a plan of action, we can't just go in guns blazing. it would be a death sentence. Harmony replied, making all of the sparks stare at one another with deep thought. I know, but if we don't act, we waste what is without a doubt important time, however long that may be. The little spark went on as Core finally stood. There are ways we can enter unnoticed. We'll more than likely have to take the ship and return to the hangar. After that, Core began to slow his words as anger began to swell in his heart. I do not know how we shall go forth from there. But if there's one thing I know for certain, Matira will pay for her actions. The older Novason stated, as light matter essence bloomed through his seams.
We're not seriously considering rushing her, are we? She's a literal god. What fighting chance do we have?
Evelyn asked. That's exactly the point. We don't have one. We're gonna have to find a way to shut the systems down. We're strong, but not godly strong. Void began again as he tried to think on what to do. We're gonna have to be strategic, smart. We may have to split up once inside just to avoid her wrath. Getting up with heavy steps, Jida approached and placed a hand upon her husband's shoulder, making him turn with a curious manner. If it's a mission to save the world, then I'm coming with you, she said, making Void sharply turn. Jida, no. We've talked about this. Void stayed with a petrified expression to his wife's words. We have? And you're not alone anymore. May I remind you that we are a team? She asked with a boop to his cheek. You're due any day, Void replied, to which Jida smirked. Yeah, I'm gonna make sure that day comes. With a snap in her fingers, Jida summoned forth her cloak per se, which in truth was an updated armor set designed by her and Void, shortly after the events of Lotus's attack. This gear was predominantly shades of orange, red, and gray, with steel-padded elements on her upper body and lower legs. From around her neck rested a massive orange scarf that shimmered beautifully in the light. With a knot in her head, Jida summoned forth her very own battle helmet that allowed for her hair to extend back into a ponytail. Thanks to how the armor shared spark tech, Jida's belly was also secured in a steel plate. Oh, that's so cool! Winona boasted, with Coco leaping forwards. Care to make some extra room for backup? She asked, to everyone's surprise, which got several others to step forwards. Mind if we bring the heat? Ain't nobody messing with our planet. Sarv asked, as her and Tucker both pulled out pistols from their holiday sweaters. What the hell? Kat reacted, as Jet and Povnu suddenly rolled up. We're all here for you, my creator. We shall fight by your side. The computer bot said. We stand together. The spectral fox added, with Winona being the last to step forwards. Count me in too. I'm sure I can be of use, she assured, leaving Andy feeling a bit perplexed. What? They stuttered, unsure of how to react. Guys, this is a goddess. A spark-born god. You could get hurt, Void said, to which Jida hugged him in response. Hey, if me and you could take on Lotus by ourselves, then we all can surely take Matira down as a team, Jida assured, in which, after a moment of thinking, made Void feel a bit at peace. I guess you're right. Doesn't change the fact that this makes me worried sick. Void finally agreed, getting everyone except for Nock, Kot, and the rest of the friend group joining in. Winona? Are you really gonna... Andy asked their new companion, to which she turned with a smirk. Help save the world? Yup. Wanna join? She asked, to which Andy took a small step back. Maybe another time. I don't even know half of what's going on right now, they said, with the other friends agreeing nods. We would join you, but without the thumper, We don't have much, Max said as he looked to the others with worry. It's alright, little man. I think we have enough support power. At least I hope. Evelyn stated as they all turned to look out the garage window, and then towards the ship. Alright, who here hasn't gone to space? Cor asked, to which Pofnu, Winona, Coco, Sarv, Tucker, and Jet raised their hands. Well, best bring a bag. It's not going to be an easy flight, he said before storming towards the door in a fit of determined rage. Guess we'll see you guys around, Winona stated with a brave smirk that left her friend group wordly stunned, and Andy wondering what kind of friendship they just started. Approaching the Spark's old craft, they all got in one by one. Side by side, they all sat in the familiar wall-lined seats, while all feeling a wave of uncertainty, fear, as well as determination. Fancy tech, Pofnu complimented as her and Jet sat side by side. Oh man, this is insane! Is this an alien craft? Wait a second, are you guys actually aliens? Winona asked in a giddy manner as she looked at Void, who was starting to strap Jida into her seat. Yeah, basically. I'm not actually a bullhorn. I'm a being known as a Spark, a reality defender. Also, the multiverse is real, by the way. The Spark explained in a monotone voice, making Winona stare with her jaw dropped. Nah, you're playing, right? She then asked with a smile as all the main Sparks got up front to man the controls. They'll surely see us coming. We installed battle stations on the damn thing, remember? Seeker reminded as Cor began to start the ship's super advanced engine. I recall, but unlike last time we rode in one of these things, we're flying towards the danger, he stated as it began to rise off the ground with a purple shine. Shobi needs us, and I'm not gonna fall back for anything. I've lost too many kids to lose another one, Cor boasted with a cold shiver. We're saving our daughter and this world, he then exclaimed as with one hard lurch, the ship blasted off and soared high into the sky. Down below, everyone who stayed behind waved while also taking note of the faint outline of the reformatter within the sky. Oh, pieces, Mac whispered as a wave of true fear began to engulf him and everyone else. Within the fraction of moments, the Spark spacecraft breached Earth's atmosphere and entered the starry abyss of outer space. Within, there was a short moment of turbulence. Stomachs turned, heads spun, but thankfully, nobody vomited their guts out. And breached, Alice stated, while turning on the gravity systems within the craft. Whoa, jeez! Tucker nervously laughed, as his massive belly raised up and down like a wobbly ball. Oh, awesome! Winona cheered with bewilderment, as she quickly turned to look out the window, being absolutely ecstatic to be in outer space. Baby's first space ride, Jada joked, to which Void simply smiled, but kept visible concern in his eyes. Alright, here's the plan. We breach the docking bay and split off into several teams. Me and Sika will make our way to the Mattervat's top, while everyone else goes to the lower compartments to break the systems. We will use that as a distraction to buy time and hopefully damage the reformatter to an unoperational state, Cor elaborated as he kept his eyes locked on the giant machine in the distance. Jida, Pofnu, Coco, and Winona, you guys stick with me, Void asked, to which they all nodded in agreement. I'll take Evelyn, Sarv, Tucker, and I guess the computer, Atlas cautiously stated, leaving only Lee and Harmony to nod at each other as their own team. We're getting ready to engage. The reformatter will surely detect our own matter essence at any given moment. Be ready to brace, Sika called to the others over her shoulder, who tightened their restraints in response. Question. What kind of battle stations did you guys exactly create? Coco asked from the back, only to be suddenly greeted by an answer. From the top of the Reformattor's upper half, a spherical hatch opened up, revealing a glowing, mechanical, holographic yellow eye that was purposely made to be an intimidation display to ward off threats. With its holographic pupil shrinking, tons of hatches and slots open around the large craft, revealing hundreds of turrets, cannons, and weapons, all trained right upon the approaching ship that was like an ant compared to its absolute mass. Oh, never mind. The frog croaked with worry as everyone prepared for what was to come. Hang on! Corey yelled as he punched the ship into full gear. In another lurch, their small craft blasted forwards in a spiraling manner. Within, everyone held on tightly, void of which, gripping on the Jida in a pure state of dread. Upon noticing the rapid movement, the Reformatter began to rain fire down upon the ship. Thousands of energized blaster bolts descended down towards the Sparks and their allies, forcing Core to evade in sharp turns and spins. Fall to pieces! Hoffman cried, having a queasy nature to her voice, while everyone else made noises of shock. Reroute half of the power to the shields, Lee! Core barked, gripping the control wheel as the ship lurched slightly from evasive maneuvers. We can't let them breach the outer layer. If we're struck just once, it's over! Alice cried, making all those who had joined feel a deep pit grow in their stomachs. What? Winona asked with a less excited tone as they went from left to right and all around. I'm on it! Lee responded as she ran her metallic fingers across a holographic interface near the front of the craft. The soft hum of machinery around the group began a fiery sympathy of alarms as blaring sirens merged with the thruster's roar. Outside, the dark void of space was continuously pierced by streaks of vibrant and endless sea of blaster fire hurtling towards them, each bolt with the promise of danger. One laser barely grazed the ship's shield, sending a tremor through the craft, making Sika curse under her breath. I would say materia give us strength, but frankly, I'd rather not, nor ever again. In the heat of the chaos, Core yanked the controls with precision, tilting the vessel sharply to the right. The motion itself sent those within gasping in their seats, their bodies pressed hard against restraints as the ship swerved through space. Just as they righted themselves, another wave of punctuating beams cut through the darkness, bright and furious like angry comets. Void's heart raced as he counted the ticks between each attack, his adrenaline heightened with every hostile shot. Keep us moving! Don't let them get a lock on us! He shouted, his voice resonating over the alarm.
Adjusting trajectory!
Evelyn called back, with beads of sweat forming on her brow. Core, with another yank, executed a sharp roll, spinning the craft into an agile barrel maneuver. The ship's hull groaned as it spun, while the whirlwind of the cosmos outside blurred into a dazzling image of stars. We're close, but we're gonna need to go faster if we wish to make it inside! Alice boasted, fear continuing to swell in his heart. Prepare yourselves! I'm gonna get us all there and square! Siggy yelled as her body began to glow red with her spark-born essence. I'm giving her the juice! She said again, whilst punching her fist into the control deck. Like the train from before, the craft ignited red and blasted forward so fast, Core was barely able to keep the ship steady. With one final lurch, the craft crossed through the force field barrier and landed with a screeching, sparking stop within the hangar bay. Spinning around in a circle, the craft nearly crashed against the wall and other ships, if it weren't for the sharp ends below its build, acting as though to be brakes. As they came to a stop, everyone inside began to catch their breaths, feeling absolutely shell-shocked with the crazy experience they had just had. God! Sarv hooted, as the Sparks all stood and looked back at one another. Are you all good? Harmony asked towards the crew, who all either agree with thumbs up or by nodding their baffled heads. A little dazed, but I think we're alright. Jida said with a dizzying tone, to which the others agreed. Alive! In here. That's all that matters. Tucker croaked out as he and the rest started to unbuckle. Slowly and carefully, one by one, everyone exited the craft, but to their shock, found nothing to be waiting for them. The hangar was as quiet as a mouse. No demons, no Talos, nothing. Odd. Where is everyone? Void whispered as he held his arm cannons ready. That's never good. Be alert, everyone. Core cautiously replied as he and the other sparks glowed with their spark-born energy. I'm assuming this is the part where we split up? Jada asked, to which Core nodded. I'm sending you all a map of the Reformattor's internal blueprints. Take lower routes and disable what you can. Me and Sika will be making our way to the Mattervat's top. The older Novason explained as he turned the gaze upon the others. Once we get Joby and destabilize the Reformatter, we leave. To this, Void nodded and raised his fist up, gesturing for a bump. Good luck. Nodding, Core returned the gesture before all split off to do what needed to be done. Time was on the clock, and if they didn't work fast, its countdown would reach 0 sooner rather than later. Within the Reformatter, the 4 teams began to make their rounds. Core and Sika ascended the spacecraft through its elevator shafts to avoid detection. Harmony and Lee found a lower sector with gears and cogs that they rapidly began to shoot and slice apart. Atlas and his team proceeded to make similar actions, ripping out key wires and servos that would begin to slow the process and shutting everything down. As for Void, Jida, Pofnu, Coco, and Winona, they all silently crouched their way through tight corridors within the lower regions. All around them, orange shines and spouting steam hit their ears, creating a tense moment for them all. You guys okay? Void asked while looking over his shoulder to the found family he had made. Fine, just a bit tight, Jada replied, with her helmet retracted and face exposed. Feels like a bad day to have fur, to be honest. Pofnu joked, which made Coco giggle. I can manage. She then added, while Winona continued to look around with wonder. I'm really doing this. Can't say this is how I expected my Christmas break to start, but I'm not complaining. The field reporter gasped out as they all entered a large room, one filled with rotating gears and fans. It wouldn't be the first time you've helped us. Only now you know who we are. Jada mentioned, while taking easy steps in order to keep her baby steady. Yeah, but this is on a whole nother level. Dad, if only you could see me now. You'd probably kick my ass. Marching ahead, Void read an approaching door that said the words, Sector Z, with the Spark's vision of an electronic sign being presented. With a huff and push, he opened this door and entered a rather large room. Before everyone's eyes sat an environment that looked akin to an industrial facility, dimly lit and filled with a sense of dread. The walls were constructed out of a metallic, geometric pattern, resembling a honeycomb of triangles. In the center of the room, a large open pit revealed a glowing expanse of molten matter. This energy burned to the same degree as lava, with an intense orange and red light casting long shadows across the room. This light cast the 5 silhouettes upon a fiery backdrop of pulsating panels. The air felt thick with steam, highlighting the power and potential risk of death. And there, with his back turned and working at a lower control deck, was Talos. Holding his arm out, Void halted all the girls behind him and gestured for them to stay low. As Talos stood, they could all see him looking upon his family photo, gripping it so tightly that its corner began to crease. Taking a long breath, Void slowly marched his way forwards and spoke aloud, not wanting to waste time. "Talos!" he cried while deploying his battle helmet. Without so much as a flinch, Talos slowly turned himself around and looked upon Void with a sagging, tired eye. He appeared miserable. For a short few seconds, the two sparks just stared at one another before the yellow spark began to speak. "I already took the life of one of our brothers. Don't make me take another," he gruffed as the others watched on with a nervous state of expressions. The air was warm and crisp. Flakes of dissolving matter soared past them all like ash as a literal ring of fire rested below the glowing light. "Talos, I understand you're hurting. I know what it's like to lose it all. But this isn't right," Void stated as he took one step forwards with a hand extended. "You're one to talk. You don't even know the prospect of losing a wife, let alone a child." Talos snapped back as he looked to the side with billowing sorrow. "I know you see me as a monster. You think my actions are inexcusable. But you don't even understand the kind of mental torture losing a kid can bring upon you." Turning back forwards, Talos scowled with a purple surge of dark matter leaving his body that contrasted sharply against the orange light. "I can't say I do, but what I do know is this. Rage, anger, it gets you nowhere. It was only when I began to accept responsibility things worked out in the end. Genocide to a whole world for an experiment that may not work? Stop and think, Talos. This isn't what we do." Void tried to reason with his fellow spark, who only grew brighter with lavender power. "I don't think you recall what I said back on that boat, boy. I will stop at nothing until I see my wife and daughter again," Talos repeated as he began to burn with a mix of purple flames and oozing slime. "Just leave now. By all means, bring everyone aboard if you so wish. Don't make me hurt you, Void." Approaching up beside him, Coco, Pofnu, and Jida stood, ready to fight, while Winona slowly huddled down near a back generator. "So be it. I warned you," the fallen spark replied, as the metal half of his face covered the rest of his head, revealing a sharp steel, one-eyed battle helmet that steamed with purple rage. With swift movement, Talos lunged forwards as his arms began to sprout dark matter blades, slicing through the air as he aimed directly at the blue spark's chest. In the nick of time, Void sidestepped just as the blades missed him by mere inches. Instinctively, he countered with a quick slash of his activated axe, forcing Talos to tumble back, narrowly avoiding the deadly arc of the burning blade. "Don't do this! We can find another way!" Void shouted, trying to keep reason with the other spark, who took a warning slash at Void's allies. In a unified flip, Pofnu and Coco leapt out of the way, while Jida short-warped to the side. Whirling back around, Talos charged his body again and shouted a roar that echoed through the matter room. Releasing a pulse, he blew the girl's back on the ground as his matter weapon struck upon Void's axe. A cold sweat broke across Void's brow as he deflected and rolled away, regaining his footing just in time to see Jida whirling around and activating her mask. Raising her hands, she blasted fire upon the fallen spark. As Talos stumbled through the flames, Coco jumped in with a roundhouse kick that sent the bigger spark flying into Pofnu's tail smash. Void's heart raced as the three began to work in unison. Regaining himself, Talos sprouted his wings and began to levitate, transforming his left arm into its canonized form. With it, he began to shoot down upon them all, leaving everyone to scatter.
"Enough of this! We're getting this done quick and easy!"
The yellow spark roared, determination surging through him as he launched himself back down into the fray. At landfall, he unleashed a fury of strikes aimed directly at Void, who danced around him, but he knew he was playing with fire. Void had to turn the tide quickly if he wished to survive. With one decisive move, Void spun to the left, drawing Talos off balance, and then pivoted sharply to parry the spark's matter. With another turn, Talos swung his matter blades. The clang of metal and muck resonated, sending vibrations through their bones as the weapons clashed. But as darkness pierced the air, a blast of cosmic fire surged from Jida, striking Talos again in the shoulder and sending him staggering back. Pain flared up, but Talos scowled through the discomfort. He was still standing. Drawing upon his inner strength, Talos fought through the haze of pain. He now focused on Jida, who flanked him again in a warp. But this time, he anticipated her movement and attempted to catch her by the throat. Yet, before he could do as such, Winona ran up from out of nowhere with a found slab of metal in her hands. With one sharp smash, she clashed it across Talos' face, before Pofnu snagged her to safety. "Talos, listen to me! You don't have to go through with this! You can still make the right choice!" Void wailed as his body began to surge with powering up electricity. "Please just think for a moment! What would Astra and Titania..." Void tried to say, before getting cut off again.
Keep their names out of your damn mouth!
In a fit of rage, Talos began to rapid fire his gun upon everyone. Void dodged, Jida short-warped, Coco leapt, and Pofnu did her best to keep Winona out of danger. "Talos, please, don't do this!" Void tried to reason, as he retracted his axe and raided his Nova Blades.
I could give a hot scrap about your words, boy. If you stand against me in my life, you'll die just like Cogson.
Talos screamed in anguish as he continued to shoot and create a mess of steam and smoke.
I'll kill your wife, and then your kid.
Talos had lost it. He had grown obsessed with reviving his people to a point where he was a broken soul. Through it all, Void could still understand Talos. Unfortunately, loss seemed to take a toll on everyone in different ways. Talos being one of the worst examples of this fact. Taking a deep breath, Void sprayed out of the smoke and dodged a randomly shot blaster fire. With flips and turns, he rushed upon Talos, knowing what he was about to do would be extremely painful. With one quick slash, Void swiped away Talos' metal face guard, revealing the scarred remains beneath. With a turn, he then cut a gash into his Sparkborn armor, which led to one clean slice through the arm. Within the fraction of a second, Talos' left limb was severed at just the right angle where he wouldn't die from the wound. Before the yellow spark could scream, Void surged his leg with an electric pulse and kicked Talos so hard he crashed into the control deck, breaking it and shattering the internal system of this part of the reformatter. As quickly as it began, the fight was done. As the dust settled and all came to a screeching halt, Void and the others watched Talos as he first laid in anguish upon the ground, but then slowly stood upon his feet.
No. The reactor core.
He gruffed in pain as he slowly stood fully upright.
No. No.
He repeated again, while looming akin to a zombie standing upright.
You destroyed a vital aspect of this to saving our... You.
Talos started in pain as he supported himself upon the shattering control panel. I'm sorry, Talos, but we can't allow this to happen. You've betrayed Spark Honor. But you can still help us stop this, Void stated as he held a hand out for his fellow Sparks. There's good in you. Hell, I've come to learn that there's goodness in a lot of people. A lot of bad people. It's not too late to turn over a new leaf. The spark went on as he approached closer and closer. You can make this right. You saved everyone before. You can save them again, and so many more. Please, remember who you are. Wincing, Talos looked upon Void and his found family, After all he had done, this spark was giving him a chance? And yet, through it all, he was still numb. He didn't care. All Talos wanted was to see his family again. Looking around, he could see the alerts blaring. The reformator was slowly being taken apart, one piece at a time. His little crash alone would already be a 2-year setback in and of itself. He couldn't wait any longer. He just couldn't. Slowly, Talos reached into his pocket and pulled out his family photo. Looking back at him was Titania and Astra, his wife and daughter. Weakly shaking, Talos slowly looked back up and eyed Void down, who still held his hand for his.
You've got a heart, Nova Son. But if I can't live this life without them, then there's nothing for me to wake up for.
Talos whispered as he held the photo close to his chest.
Nothing. Nothing.
The spark repeated again, as he, without warning, began to lean backwards towards the light. Talos! Void shot with a reaching lunge, but Talos had already made his decision. Falling backwards, the yellow spark plummeted down the center pit and was greeted to the embrace of molten matter. Within a flash, a gust of fire arose, making all those above shout in shock to what they just witnessed. No! Void screamed in horror as he and the rest ran to the ledge and looked down. The only thing that was left of Talos was the photo of his family, shriveling away to nothing but flames. No, I could have helped him. We could have done something. I could have helped him. Void screamed in dismay before feeling a warm hand rest upon his shoulder. Turning, he was met with Jida, who had retracted her mask. The look upon her face was that of sorrow, but an understanding one. A face that said she had seen something like this before. He made his choice, Blue. You tried. That's all that matters, she assured, as the others looked down with saddened horror to what they just witnessed. He could have changed. He could have changed, Void replied, as a deep wave of regret engulfed his soul. Talos made an evil decision, yes, but he was still a spark, another that was now added to their lessening numbers. Come on, we should regroup with the others. I think our job here is done, Winona said while adjusting her glasses as they all looked upon the battle damage. Yeah, let's go, Coco replied as she turned heel with Pofnu and Winona following in tow. With a small, gentle tug, Jida pulled Void away from the scene. All the while, he was thinking that he truly could have helped Talos. Perhaps now, that one-eyed spark had his wish fulfilled.